Thanks for joining me on this trip to Brussels, Belgium. My name's Don. In the summer of 1974, I was cycling around Europe and Scandinavia with my friend Stephen Madone. We traveled from Amsterdam to Brussels and arrived by train at Brussels Nord. From the railway stop, we cycled into the city. This map of Belgium shows the location of Brussels, and as you can see, it's not that far from England. This satellite view from Google shows the route from Amsterdam to Brussels. An excellent tourist map of downtown Brussels showing the central station and some of the major tourist sites. The city back in the early days, as this 1850 map showed, had a wall. It developed as a very prosperous city by 1200 AD. I'd read quite a number of travel books about Brussels. The city looked quite interesting. During the 1950s, my parents even had a few souvenirs around the house. And some posters had caught my eye. I bought a map of Brussels. I checked out the attractions and looked at some early photographs and faded posters and postcards. I was familiar with the mannequin piss, or the little boy who was peeing, which is an icon for Brussels. I was quite shocked that an important capital city would have such an icon. But it seems very popular, as shown by all the tourist items. Everywhere I went, I saw signs referring to the little boy. My father excited interest in Brussels through his large Belgian stamp collection, including these stamps of the 1897 exhibition. And as a history teacher, I was aware of the unfortunate history of Belgium with Germany in the First and Second World War. Here we have a picture of the Allies entering Belgium in 1918. Faded postcards around the house excited interest in Belgium. A street car at Louvain Gate. Very early postcards showing sites of interest in Brussels. And churches seem to be central to this city, like many medieval cities. Some engravings done in 1850 also made the city look exciting. Here's an 1850 engraving of the Prince of Orange's palace. And this is one of the public parks. An early picture postcard done in color. The center of justice. This is the Royal Palace. An 1850s engraving of the Royal Palace. Extremely early photographs of the royal palace. And the royal palace in picture postcards with tram cars. Here's a more recent picture of the royal palace. An early church, but I don't know which one. Well, it's time to get moving and explore the city. We check out the metro or subway. Our first stop was the mannequin piss, the little man pissing in English. It's quite small, a tiny little bronze sculpture depicting a boy urinating into a basin. It's commonly photographed with dolls in a huge variety of costumes and is sold in most of the tourist stores. Recently, there's been some competition. Jenike pissing, a modern fountain with a girl. It's on the opposite side of the city. Our next stop was the exhibition park at Heysel. A 1958 picture postcard. There's a gigantic atom constructed for the 1958 exhibition, which you can climb up to the top of and get a good view of the city. The other site we're seeing is Mini Europe, which consists of hundreds of small reconstructions of tourist sites right across Europe. It's really quite incredible. Who needs to travel around Europe? Just come here. The wall coming down in West Berlin. A castle on the Rhine, I think. And of course the Acropolis in Athens. We move on to the Royal Museum of Fine Arts. There's actually 4 museums, but I only get to the Royal Museum. A very early picture postcard of the Royal Museum. And here it is today. A very imposing outside. It's filled with fine artwork, including this self-portrait by Rubens. The Grand Place or Central Market Square is certainly worth visiting. It's not only got the town hall, which is stunning, but also some fairly old guild houses. A brochure advertising Grand Place. Here's the satellite view overlaid with the map showing Grand Place and the buildings. An early engraving from the 19th century. A not very clear picture postcard of Grand Place from the 1950s. And here it is today. It's absolutely stunning, particularly when lit at night. The tower climbs forever. It's not what you expect to find in a town hall. And here's Grand Place showing the central square. There's some very medieval gargoyles on the town hall, like this one. And even carvings and statues like this. A very unusual building. An early postcard showing the inside of the town hall. This guild building is on the opposite side from the town hall in Grand Place. Now we'll drift around and look at modern Brussels. It has a contrast of the old and the high tech. There are many incredibly modern high-rise buildings, like these ones. The South Tower, the highest building in Brussels. The Berlaymont building houses the European Commission. Yet another view of the Berlaymont building. A working room in the Justus Lipsius building, located nearby, also used by the European Commission or Council. More high-tech buildings, many of them are used by the European Common Market structure, and I'm confused by the Parliament and the Council and the Commission. They're all just big modern buildings. This is the debating room or hemicycle of the European Parliament in Brussels. A quick look at some other sides of Brussels. A small store. An early postcard of the Royal Theatre. And it doesn't appear to have changed today. The Royal Palace. An early engraving of the Brussels Cathedral, the last thing that we visited. And it doesn't appear to have changed either. Beautiful stained glass windows. They're very colorful and they tell a story. A quick look around inside. This photograph of people visiting shows people looking upward in awe. And it is a long way up. This is beautiful. A most impressive organ. I didn't actually make it to the Basilica of the Sacred Heart. The problem with going to one large cathedral is you end up neglecting all the others. Like this one. You know, I was not really aware that Brussels is a port city. It's a fair distance from the ocean, but situated on a river. Of course, I did see the river. And there's this famous watercolor of transport on the river to Brussels. Well, it's time to go. Here's Brussels International Airport. We're catching a flight to Toronto, Ontario. Like many things in Brussels, the airport's ultra-modern. Here's the Brussels Airways flight. Thanks for joining me on this visit to Brussels, Belgium. Have a good day.